Hello everyone and welcome back to another Educator Moment for the Children's Museum Houston. I'm Allie, the Life Sciences Educator at the museum, and one of the exhibits that I manage in the museum is called EcoStation. It's our environmental science exhibit funded by the Strake Foundation, and in keeping with the topic of environmental science, I thought we could plant something today. So the supplies you're going to need today are some dried beans or some seeds, some dirt, an old pot or cup. I'm actually going to be using a Halloween bowl. It says beware, spooky, and a ruler. That's about it. So I have a few different types of dried beans from my kitchen cupboard. I have lima beans right here. I have some black-eyed peas right here, and I have some red beans. Awesome. Now, you can actually use whatever beans you have in your cupboard. You can actually use flower seeds. You can even use seeds that you get from any fruit or vegetables that you cook with. For instance, the bell pepper, if you open it up, has little bell pepper seeds in it. You can actually pull those out and plant them. So with my three types of beans, I'm actually going to create an experiment because I have a question I want answered. I want to know which bean grows the fastest. And to find out, I first need to form a hypothesis or educated guess. Now, I'm looking at my beans and I'll bring them closer to the camera. There they are. I have a lima bean here. My red bean is that little red one. My black-eyed pea is right there. I don't know which one's going to grow the fastest, but I think it's going to be the biggest bean, and that means it's going to be the lima bean. That's my hypothesis. So I think the lima bean is going to grow the fastest. So now that we've formed our hypothesis, we can actually start our experiment. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need to add some dirt to our bowl. I'm actually going to scoop in some dirt and fill it about 3/4 of the way full. If you want to plant outside in your backyard, that's just fine. I live in an apartment, so I don't have an outside, but I'm using this little corner of my apartment to plant. So now that I have 3/4 of the way full dirt, I'm actually going to stick my finger into the dirt about an inch deep in 3 different places. And what I want to do is plant them equal distance apart. So one here, one there, and one there. Awesome. So now that I've made my little divots, I can actually plant my seeds. First, I'll put the lima bean seed in. Then I'm going to use the black-eyed pea. Put that in. Then I'm going to use the red bean. I'm going to stick the red bean in. There we go. And cover them up. And I've actually created these little markers. If you're just planting one seed, you don't have to use the markers. But because I'm planting 3 different seeds, I need to remember which seed is where. So I'm going to put my lima bean seed marker right next to my lima bean, my black-eyed pea right next to the black-eyed pea, and my red bean next to the red bean. Awesome. So here is my beans planted in my soil, and I'm actually going to add some water because it won't grow unless I water it. So you want to add enough water to make the soil just nice and moist. You want to make sure that it's not overflowing with water. And what we want, so my dirt's going to take a minute to actually absorb. There we go. So I've added my water to my dirt, and it's nice and moist, and it's going to actually sink down. You don't want to overwater your plants or the beans won't actually grow. And I'm going to set it in the window right here in a sunny spot where it can get nice and lots of sunlight so the beans can start to sprout and grow. If you wanted to set it outside, you could, but remember, if it's out of sight, out of mind, you might forget to water it. So make sure you remember to water it. Okay. Now I have my beans growing. They're ready for the experiment, but I needed to create a chart. So this is the chart that I created. It has each bean listed. I have my lima beans, my black-eyed peas, and my red beans. So, and then if you notice, I have in the corner right here the number of days listed. So I started with day 5 because I know that it actually takes beans a little bit of time to germinate or sprout roots in a stem. So I'm going to wait to start measuring till day 5, but you could go ahead and measure from day 1 and so on. And you can see how far my chart goes. It goes all the way down to 31. So I'm actually going to be measuring my plants for 31 days. I'm going to end up keeping up with this experiment too. So I'm going to make another video at the end of this experiment with my chart filled out and my beans growing so tall. So make sure you check our social media pages regularly so that you can see the next video and figure out which bean grew the fastest. Now, if your beans start to get too tall and too crowded for your container, feel free to transplant them into something bigger. So when I finish my next video, you may actually see them transplanted into a little bit of a bigger pot if I need to. I'm not quite sure if I will or not. Okay, so thank you for experimenting with me today, and I hope you have a great time planting your seeds and measuring how tall they get. Have a great day and happy planting.